you good at maths? I know I'm not. But what I want to talk about today is a different kind of maths. This is not your usual sum. This is what I call the golden ratio. And no, I am not talking about the Fibonacci cycle, Fibonacci code, Fibonacci thing, ratio. I'm not talking about that. This is a different ratio. This is a 100-to-1 ratio. And when you crack the code of this particular formula, it brings so much ease and joy and just a complete smooth ride to your life. So does that sound good? Does that sound like something you would be interested in? Fantastic, then you are in the right place. So hi, I am Kylie Ansett. I am the Alignment Whisperer, and I guide seekers of alignment to connect with their inner wisdom, to connect with that part of them that has all the answers, all of the answers. That's what I'm here to help you do, because I know that when we align with our head, heart, and our hand, we live a life of purpose. We live our life on purpose. And that makes all the difference. So this is your daily dose of alignment, and welcome. We are talking about the golden ratio. Now, I know many of you have heard about the Fibonacci ratio, which is also known as the golden ratio. So I am just stealing that. I am completely shamelessly stealing that little saying, that way that's known. I'm stealing that for this ratio because I think, even though I think the Fibonacci ratio, and by the way, if you don't know what that is, go check it out. It is pretty cool, and it's sacred geometry. It's very kind of magical and special, and it's everywhere in nature. But this is even more important. Oh my God! Don't believe me? Well, just wait and see if I can prove it to you. So here's the thing. Now, you've heard this saying. If you have listened to me for more than a hot minute, you will know that what you think about, you bring about. So whatever it is that you are focusing on, whatever it is that is uppermost in your thoughts, is what comes into your reality. Now, there are scientific reasons behind this. It's not just, what do they call it, woo-woo, voodoo, something. It's not just that. It happens. And you can see it playing out in front of you all the time. You can see it when you watch your children play. You can see it when you watch reality shows on TV. You can see it in your own family, and you can 100% see it happen in your own life if you kind of give yourself a bit of a different perspective. Now, what I mean by that is it is hard to see this in your own life. That's why I like watching things like reality TV. Hideous though it is, you get the perspective, or watching other people. But for ourselves, what we kind of need is we need to have that eagle's eye perspective. We need to be above our own life and looking down on it to see how this does play out. Does that kind of make sense? Is that resonating with you? It's the perspective that we have. And of course, in our own life, we're down in the bushes, we're in the thick of it, and we don't really see how we're creating the very things that we perhaps don't want. Now, let me tell you about this golden ratio, this perfect ratio that I love to talk about, which is not the Fibonacci ratio, so sorry to disappoint you. But what it is, I call it the 100-to-1, because here's the thing. And tell me if you're guilty of this, because yes, I know I am, and I'm trying very hard not to be, but it happens. It happens. So what it is that you have this, okay, here's a good example. You're going on a walk. You're going on a beautiful walk in the forest, in the bush, out in nature, and it's beautiful. There are flowers, there are birds. There's a little stream sort of trickling along the side. There's just beauty everywhere. The sun's in the sky. It's one of those perfect days, a perfect breeze. And then as you walk past, you see somewhere where someone's dumped some rubbish, right? So there's like a pile of, whatever. There's an old cigarette butts, an old whatever, like a burnt out car tire or something. Now, this is what can happen. until I became really aware of this golden ratio, I was so guilty of doing this. That pile of rubbish, which was 1 to 100 in its ratio, like it was 1% of, and the other 99% was beauty and gorgeous and lovely. That 1% kind of overrides the whole experience. That 1% ends up being what I focus on. That 1% is what I give 99% of my attention to. So do you see where I'm going with this? Can you see why this is a golden ratio? Here's another example. Social media. Oh my God. Now, let's say you put up a post and you had, 10 people that said that was beautiful or liked it or loved it or whatever, and then you had one person that said something negative. What's going to happen? Or actually, social media may not be such a good example, but let's say you do something public. It could be social media, but maybe you gave a talk or wrote a book. Now, a book's a great example because, like, if I look through my book reviews, and I, of course, associate with a lot of other new authors, what you'll have is I think I've got around 80% 5-star reviews, and then about 10% 4-star reviews, and then about 3 or 5% 3-star reviews, which means that I've got like 97% 3, 4, or 5-star reviews, which means 97% of the people love it. And then I've got, 1 or 2% 1-star reviews where they hate it. They just like completely hate it. Well, who do I give more attention to? Do I give it more attention to the 99 people who said they love it, it's fantastic, or do I give more attention to the one person who said this is crap? Now, why do we do that? Because you know that what we think about, we bring about. So by looking at and focusing on the 1%, that person, and let's face it, the person who gives you a negative review, and like I'm giving those examples, but I think you realize that this takes part in our life on a daily basis. It's not just when we go for a nature walk or publish a book or put a post on Facebook. It's everything in our life. Like, we can be having a day that is filled with 99 fantastic things and 1 not good thing, and we give a lot of energy and attention to the 1 not good thing. So what happens is that we are thinking about the thing that didn't go right. We're thinking about that person who said that thing that was offensive, and we forget about all those great things that were said to us, all that positive thing. And here's the other thing. That person who gave you a negative review or said that hurtful thing, they're probably not someone that you really respect their opinion anyway. So why are we giving them so much attention and power? But more to the point, why are we turning something that was 1% into 90%? Why are we making that be the big black cloud of our beautiful nature walk when it doesn't have to be? When it really and truly doesn't have to be. Now, I find this an absolutely fascinating thing. I watch myself do it. I watch other people do it, and I just think, why? Why is it that we are not wanting to focus on the things that went well? I mean, here's another example that I find hilarious. Okay, someone has just come from they've just gone on a beautiful overseas trip, right? They've been to the Greek islands, they've been to Hawaii, they've been to Fiji, I don't know, wherever they've been. Maybe they just went to Melbourne. But they went on this trip and they had fun and they did the things and they swam in the ocean and they slept in late and they ate all the gorgeous food. Right. But then their suitcase got lost at the airport, or the taxi driver had really bad BO, or it's often something to do with the airport experience, the catching of the plane. They sat next to someone that was like hugely overweight on the plane, and it meant that they didn't have any room. Now, what are they talking about when they get home? Why is that? Why do we do this? Why do we get like a blow-by-blow description of the disaster at the airport and like, oh yeah, Hawaii was really cool, but let me tell you what happened at the airport. And that was like 1% of their experience. Now, it's really interesting, isn't it? Now, think about this from a law of attraction perspective. Whatever we bring into our reality, we are creating our future reality. Whatever we bring to mind right now, we are paving the way, we are creating the vibrational reality of the experience we're living now, but also we're attracting towards us more of those experiences. So let's say there was a lot of frustration at the airport, or there's a lot of, I don't know, like anger or disappointment when someone gives you a bad review or cuts you off in traffic, whatever it is. Or when you walk in nature and you see this pile of rubbish, okay, it makes you feel angry, right? So that vibration of that anger, disappointment, whatever, by feeding it and giving it attention, that's the reality you're living right now. Right now, on this nature walk, you are experiencing anger and you're in an angry vibration. The cells in your body have been washed with anger. You are having chemical reactions within your body that are to do with the hormones that are produced, right? It's all happening. And on a vibrational level, you're putting that out in the world, that vibration of anger. Now, it was just a pile of rubbish, right? It didn't hurt you. And there was a lot of other part of that nature walk that was beautiful. But you have just created in the moment a lot of anger, okay? Now, that's not saying the pile of rubbish is a good thing and that we should be, cheering anyone who puts a pile of rubbish there. But what's the anger doing? It's not clearing it up. I mean, if you saw it and you went, fantastic, I'm going to come back here with my rubbish bags and I'm going to clean it all up. If that was your reaction, different. But it's usually not, right? We usually sort of think, oh, someone else should clean that up, whatever. That's just the analogy I'm giving. I'm hoping this, you're following through with this. So the reality that you're creating right now in this moment is the reality of anger. So you're living the reality of anger. But then what you're also doing, and this is where it gets really scary from a law of attraction perspective, you are also putting out that vibration and like a magnet, you're attracting more of that vibration, more things that are going to make you annoyed, upset, irritated, whatever. So that trip to Hawaii, you might as well not have bothered with it if all that you talk about and think about is the fat person on the airplane next to you or the whatever, and like we all do it. I'm really curious as to why we do it. I find that really interesting because I think it's just a habit. I think it's just laziness. Like it's a habit. We've always done it. When you tell a story, like if you get back from Hawaii and all you're talking about is like, well, we lay on the beach all day, every day, like that's pretty boring. But if you tell the story of, the disaster at the airport, well, now you've got a captive audience and they all want to hear it because everyone kind of loves to hear a story about someone who was going to Hawaii having a disaster of a time. Like it's the sick kind of, I don't know, it appeals to some aspect of us. I don't know. So you've got a captive audience when you're telling your story. Maybe that's why we do it. Yeah, do you hear what I'm saying? Like it's hilarious. I know. It does make me laugh. I laugh at myself when I watch myself do it. Absolutely. And like I said, I observe others doing it and think, how interesting. Where is that coming from? What are we doing here? What's this all about? So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you today because I think it's a powerful thing to bring to your attention. I found it a powerful thing when I started becoming more aware of it. And the beautiful thing was, the more aware of it I became, the more I decided not to do it and to see the pile of rubbish on the bushwalk and go, it's a pile of rubbish. Like, okay, but look what's next to it. What a beautiful gum tree. Like, right, okay, like whatever. I'm just going to focus on the things that make me feel happy. And it's not a Pollyanna, like put your head in the sand. Like if I was a, what do they call them, social justice warrior, or if I was like a full-on environmentalist, I'd probably come back with my car and trailer and I'd pick the rubbish up and I'd dispose of it properly. But like, I was never going to do that. So what? I either get upset or I don't. It makes no difference to the rubbish. I mean, I guess you could report it to someone. But that's the analogy you see where I'm going with this. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me and playing with me in the alignment sandbox. It's been fun. It's been interesting. I hope it's been enlightening. And until next time, I want you to remember that the power is within you. Bye.